Hello and welcome to this review of my Tai-Hao FAME TH-5539. There are quite a few different models of 5539 out there. Originally these had an Alps Bigfoot style case and used blue Alps switches, but this is one of the later models that used Tai-Hao's own Aruz switches. A quite rare type of switch only found on Tai-Hao keyboards, which aren't that common to begin with. I got this from someone for a pretty friendly price, brand new in its original box, and originally the owner had planned to destroy this keyboard and literally scatter its parts across the globe, but fortunately I managed to save it from its cruel and undeserved fate. Because, let's be honest, killing off such a nice old board, let alone a brand new one, would have been tantamount to blasphemy. Here's the box it came in. It just says keyboard on it, and it doesn't list any features on it anywhere for some reason. And it's got this incredibly 70s, 80s feel to it, with a wood pattern all over and random books and magazines listed on the cover, even though this particular board was made in 1992. The keyboard itself is totally unbranded as well, but it does have a little blue sticker in the top right corner here that lists the patent number, as if people would want to look it up or something. Really weird, but at the same time it looks pretty cool. The Aruz switches are Alps mount and quite clearly inspired by blue Alps. They even use a similar greyish blue colour for the slider, but the slider is hash shaped, which is how you can easily recognise them. Like blue Alps, they're very smooth, clicky switches, and they feel quite similar to them. In fact, I think someone with these switches once compared these quite favourably to blue Alps, but to my knowledge no one has ever compared brand new Aruz switches to brand new blue Alps. Well, I've got my trusty KB101A with blue Alps here, which is also brand new, so let's see how they hold up to the real thing then. Now, the very first thing I noticed about these Aruz switches is that they feel like they somehow have shorter travel. They're definitely full travel switches, but there is an unmistakable feeling of shortness to them. And this feeling was so strong that I decided to measure the travel with some digital calipers, and lo and behold, it turns out I was right. Total travel is only about 3 millimeters. That's about half a millimeter shorter than Alps switches, and a whole millimeter shorter than Cherry switches. Now, half a millimeter might not sound like much, but it's significant enough that the difference is immediately apparent when you try it out. The shorter travel, to me at least, doesn't feel quite as natural as the 3.5 millimeter Alps travel, but others might actually prefer a shorter travel. Other than that, the key feel is quite similar, snappy, clicky and smooth, with a high actuation point, and they have similar weightings as well. They're almost as good as the genuine article. So, of all the Alps copies, I have to say these ones managed admirably well. Of course, there's one thing they couldn't imitate, something that only real Alps can do, and that's the sound. The sound of these is a little bit like SMK Monterey switches, but a bit deeper. Here I'll give you a quick comparison. These are the Aruz switches, and these are Monterey switches. It's not a bad sound at all, but it's no match for the deep, baritone, delicious sound of blue Alps. Here, let me show you. The build construction of this keyboard is very flimsy. Almost all Alps boards have a metal mounting plate for the switches, and a fair amount have a metal back panel as well, adding considerable strength and weight to the keyboard. This has a fairly thin plastic case, a thin plastic back panel. It looks black, so you might think it's metal, but actually it's just plastic. And even the mounting plate is plastic, so the whole keyboard weighs less than a kilogram in total. The case also has a remarkable dip in the middle of the alpha block, but the keys don't bend in with it, so you can see underneath the keys here, which looks quite unelegant. And overall, the weird shape looks just like the case is warped, or like it was badly molded or something. So overall, the construction feels, and especially looks, exceptionally cheap.
It's got massive flip-out feet at the back, right next to the XT80 switch, but the keyboard has already got an angle to it, and when flipped out, these feet elevate the keyboard to an almost comical degree.
See here, it's like typing uphill. It's ridiculous. What were they thinking?
Here's the model sticker, by the way, showing the FCC ID, which was shared between all the different models of 5539. They didn't bother to register new ones for all the different models. And here is a small sticker showing it passed quality control in 1992, even though the parts inside are from 1989. One thing isn't flimsy though, and that's the keycaps. In fact, they're pretty awesome. They're very thick ABS double shots, which aren't easy at all to find in Alps mount, and in fact they're part of the deal. I brokered with the previous owner as he really just wanted the keycaps, so I promised him I'd send back the caps after I'd done the review. That's not really a problem though, even though the keyboard uses a somewhat unusual layout with a big ass enter, a full-size backspace, and a split right shift. Focus regularly use this layout though, and I have a spare set from a defective Focus 9000 that I killed off ages ago that has a split right shift just like that. It's a great layout, by the way. People who don't like big ass enters should give this a go sometime, I think. There is one thing that you might have noticed though. If not, look at the caps and see if they seem familiar to you. No? What about now? Yes, these are virtually identical to Cherry double shot caps, which also have that same lovely thickness. It's a shame Cherry no longer make these, by the way. Now, I don't believe for a second Cherry made these Alps mount double shot caps, but Tai-Hao's own double shots are quite recognizable and much thinner and with a different molding mark inside. So they don't appear to have made them either. Well, whoever made them, they did a damn fine job making these keycaps, I can tell you. One really weird feature is the homing keys F and J. You know how most key sets use a little raised bar on them to help you find them? And how some old keyboards use deeper, more curved dishes on the caps instead of bumps? Well, these have both at the same time. They have deep dishes and they have homing bars. I've never seen that before. In conclusion, I'm really glad I was able to save this keyboard from the scrap heap. It's practically built out of papier-mâché, but it's got fantastic keycaps, and the switches are really nice and smooth. It's great to type or game on them. Thumbs up for Tai-Hao. That's it for this review. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And following is a typing demonstration of me typing on this keyboard.